Hey, it's Wags with Ironman 4x4, and today I'm going to show you how to get these super heavy-duty side steps from Ironman 4x4 bolted on your Ram truck. It's part number SS075. Grab your gear and we'll get going. If you're working on your garage floor, make sure your truck is in park, e-brake is set. If you're going to use a jack to lift your vehicle up for clearance, make sure you set your e-brake and chock your tires. But for side step install, you really kind of want to leave your rig on the ground, and we're going to use those jack stands and your jack to hold that side step up in place, especially if you're doing it yourself. Hey, you made it. Welcome to Under the Truck. You're going to need two setups, a 12 mil socket for these little guys in there, a 13 mil socket for these little bit bigger guys right here. And if you're like me and you're doing this by yourself because your camera crew refuses to help you do anything but push buttons on their dumb cameras, then you need to unbolt the front first, unbolt the rear mount next, and then finish with the center, because when we pull this out, I'll be able to kind of hold this by myself and drop it down. Look, you got to get the bad stuff out so we can get the good stuff on. I'm going to start with these little 12s right here. Ooh, we got some movement. There we go. Get that out of here. All right, I'm gonna try this with an extension. There we go. And last one, so I'm gonna try to hold this on my own. Well, it seems to be holding, oh my gosh. This weighs probably 200 pounds. Look at that. Look at how strong I am. Just kidding. All right, now I just need to do the same thing on the driver's side. All right, we've got our passenger side heavy-duty side step sitting up here. I've got all my hardware. I got T-bolts, U-bolts. I've got these little plastic retainer washers to keep everything from falling back into the frame rail. So just track with me and I'll start plugging all this stuff in before we hang the step up on the frame rail. U-bolt is gonna go right up and through here. Also, do yourself a favor, don't stand right underneath what you're working on, because dirt will fall down into your face. So once you get that on, take one of these washers, these plastic little washer retainers, and these are just designed to spin over and hold it in place so it doesn't fall down inside the frame rail. You want to try to get them pushed as far down as you can, because you want as much of those threads exposed. There we go. We're gonna let that hang. Now we're gonna grab the T-bolt. We're gonna feed it up right through here. Spin it around. Come down here. There we go. That one's in. Now we're gonna take one of our little sparkler wires, like looks like a helicoil, and we're gonna spin it around the threads of this T-bolt. And then what you do is you take the other end, feed it down through that top hole there, and then we're gonna try to get the wire to pop out right here, which it did. Whee! And feed it through like that. Drops right out like that. Then you can take these, and they're really, really hard to unscrew. They kind of, I don't know why they don't, but I just pull down and then just wiggle them around and unwrap them. Just like that. Cool. Set that aside, grab a retainer. So I've already started this plastic retainer on here. You just need a little bit of a gap. And just drop it in there like that. And then tighten it down. You want those retainers on there because it'll hold the bolt in place, because when we go to lift this, side step up, it's heavy duty. So you don't want these to push up or back into the frame. All right, back out here. Get that close, and then that one right yonder. Okay. That is awesome. Now, grab 8 sets of nuts, washers, and split washers. Set it down here next to, so I got 2 sets of hardware, 3 sets of hardware, 3 sets of hardware. 2 plus 3 plus 3. That's 332. I think we have enough. Okay, the side step's ready to go on, and these things are heavy duty. I could try to, crib them up with blocks or use jack stands, but we're running behind schedule. So I grabbed my buddy Brennan. He's gonna help us. Thank you, dude. Seriously, really appreciate it. So as we lift this up, we're gonna lift the feet up at an angle and keep the outer bar down because we want to get these bottom bolts through first. Perfect, dude. Don't bother with your washers and all that right now. We just want to get a couple threads there. Okay, that should hold. I'm gonna move to the front. Okay. Okay, dude, let it hang. You should be good. Dude, Brendan, thank you so much, seriously.
You're an idiot.
What is going on around here? Now we can work on just getting nuts on these bolts on the face side, and then just slowly stitching it all together. All right, so I'm trying to get a nut on this U-bolt, and well, it's tough. You want to get a nut on the top and the bottom. There is an access hole on the inside of the frame. You can kind of see I'm pushing it a little bit. Awesome, okay. So I was able to grab a couple threads on the bottom side of the U-bolt. I'm gonna do the same thing on the top. Okay, cool. I've got a couple threads on the top. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is grab our floor jack, and I'm gonna put it right here underneath the rear foot mount. My goal is to get this block right under here. Now there's no hardware that mounts underneath the foot to the frame here, just on the sides. So that's why I'm gonna lift this all up and get it to pinch so that we know it's all the way up against it. And I wanna make sure that the foot mount is pressed as hard as we can up against the frame. If everything's loose and hanging down, if you do set it down on a rock or something, it's just the tension of the hardware that's holding it on, and something could shift on you. So get them good and tight. And now that I've got it under tension, I can pull the nut off, and then I'll add my washers, put it back on, and get it locked down. The other trick too is sometimes you can just push on a washer to get it to side load the bolt, and that'll hold it steady while you try to spin the nut on. Okay, now that's there, grab a 16 mil socket, we'll lock it down. Now we can lower our jack. Cool, and that's all locked in place. Now I've got enough threads hanging down that I'm gonna get my washers on here now. And again, I like to use the washers to side load the bolt. It kind of pinches it in place while I get that nut on. Now I'll lock that down. Cool. Okay, so one thing I should show you is this foot is tight up against the bottom of the frame, but it's not tight against the outside of the frame. So I'm gonna loosen it up again. There we go. Because you've gotta have the face tight against the frame and the bottom tight. So once I get my washers set up on here, we'll tighten everything down slowly together and suck it all right up against that frame rail. Also, you do have an access hole behind this bolt, so I can push my finger to hold that bolt in place. I'm gonna tighten this thing down from the front. Okay, that's not fully tight. Draw it up a little bit. That's up against it. Cool. Ooh, that one worries me, but it will be good. Get that locked down. Now the front mount, getting this tightened down, I'm actually gonna go up with a 16 ratcheting wrench, and I'm gonna tighten those nuts down to draw that U-bolt out. So this is just kind of monotonous, but slow going. You've got to keep a finger on the back of that ratcheting wrench. There's just no resistance as you're trying to draw that U-bolt out. I'm gonna switch to the top one. My washer set up here on this lower bolt plate. Okay, now that that's in place, we gotta take those U-bolt nuts back off. So I am gonna start with the top. The good news is you just gotta loosen up a little bit and then you can spin it off with your fingers. All right, now we're ready for okay, flat washer, split washer, and get that nut back on. Hey, you want to hear a gross story that happened today? So Audie, our logistics manager, we had all these bratwursts from one of our Rigs and Coffee meetups, and we ordered way too many. So we like froze 500 pounds of bratwurst. So we're slowly trying to chip away at the stone. The thing is, you can't serve all the employees around here bratwurst every day for lunch. So today he's like, hey, whoever wants lunch, I'm making bratwurst. Oh yeah, and pancakes. Both amazing foods. But when you combine the two, oh my gosh. I even saw one guy in the warehouse who wrapped his bratwurst in pancakes. That's wrong, man. That's like feeding chicken nuggets to a chicken. Ugh. All right, flat washer. You're gonna get a split washer on there, and then we'll balance that nut back on the lower side of that U-bolt. So this is one of those deals. It's hard access and it takes time. So don't get frustrated. Just take your time, go slow, deep breaths. Now we can get her tightened down. Now because it's a U-bolt, you don't want to just hog down on one side. Get a little bit tight, let's go to the other side. You want to draw it down evenly if you can. Awesome, that looks really, really good. Okay, now I'm just gonna go down the line, check all of my 16s, make sure they're tight, and they are. Awesome, okay. 8 fasteners on each side, driver and passenger, super straightforward. It's the same thing over on the driver's side. The only thing to keep in mind is you've got your e-brake cable. So when you feed the foot up, you want this foot, pretend my arm's that e-brake cable, you want to go up and over that cable. Once you go up and over so the cable's running underneath the feet, this will button up and it won't interfere with that e-brake cable. You'll be good to go. All right, we're all done. And that install was not that bad. Look, these Ironman 4x4 heavy duty side steps are absolute brutes. They bolt to the frame rail. They're not the cheap little garbage, running boards that bolt onto the pinch weld. And if you heaven forbid, you smash into something, they just destroy your body. These things are the real deal. Go get yourself a set of them at Ironman4x4America.com. We will hook you up over there.